So last year, I held a masterclass and I dove into this topic of what does it look like in divinely conceiving spirit babies? What does it look like to work with a spirit baby, to work with divine beings? Where does the underworld come into play with all of this? What are myths around the underworld? What are different things around manifesting changes in timing? What does it feel like to hold all of this? And essentially, what are the principles that can guide you along your spirit baby journey? Who I am and how spirit babies have shown up for me. Again, I am a mother of 3 spirit babies. In the 3D realm, I am a mother to be. I am calling in divine partnership and divine love. As I share later on about baby fever, it's been hitting me hard lately. At this point, I think these children are going to birth themselves in some way through me. They have a very specific man in mind. So it's like, we got to get with this timing in the program. I'm in agreement. I move at the speed of light. But what you are about to hear is a shortened version. So this has been edited down a lot. And as always, if there are any questions, feel free to send them my way. Spirit babies are ramping up for arrival. There are a lot of exciting things happening in the spirit baby playground. And there's so much information that I have been wanting to share and not sure of the ways in which to share it. And so it's just gonna come out. But yeah, tune in and I'm glad you're here. So, spirit babies are high frequency beings that are the unborn children of high frequency beings. It's a common narrative that a spirit baby has to be born naturally from the person that is birthing the child. Spirit babies come in multiple ways. That includes through adoption, through surrogacy, through IVF, through the multiple fertility methods, whether it ends in a cesarean, whether it's a vaginal birth. There are many ways that spirit babies come in, and ultimately it is through a high frequency connection and union, which means that your spirit baby may not necessarily be coming into the partner that you're going to be with long term. I won't get into that now, but they are high frequency beings. They are children of a lot of love, and they are very boundaried children. In that sense, they are also masters. So spirit babies are beings that are coming to this planet in a specific period of time because there is something they're meant to do. And something that they want me to share is that adult discomfort has to get out of the way of that. That can look anything like wanting to birth a child so your child can grow your legacy. Spirit babies are also beings that can come from many different starseed families. There is, of course, one original family, but many spirit babies have lived through many lives. Some are hundreds of years old, some are thousands of years old. I'm a spirit baby that's actually a couple million years old, which means the more lives that you have gotten under your belt, the more likely there is more trauma that you're clearing. Spirit babies are beings that sign up for journeys that can sometimes, especially when they don't have aligned guides on their team, that can sometimes be very traumatic because they feel like that's the best way to get the lesson through. So one of the things that is really coming through in the spiritual realm and in the world of spirit babies is ensuring that they are aligning with their parents prior to the journey so that their parents can help them come in a way that's more easeful, and so that they're not going through the same thing that their parents went through. What that means, though, is that your spirit baby is going to guide you on a journey that will inevitably help you clear those things, which may trigger you. There are beings that have not had a reincarnation on Earth. And because of that, they would be considered new to Earth, but they would not be considered new to reincarnation. So you have, and Earth is its own type of just like background around Earth that some people may know or may not know. Earth was built as an experiment planet. And so there are beings that were contracted to create a level of density on Earth, but also to create a level of trauma on Earth. So people come to Earth specifically to learn very dense lessons around how to be human, but also these lessons accelerates the growth overall of what they can do when they reincarnate on other planets or in other realms. So yes, a spirit baby can incarnate for the first time on Earth, but that doesn't mean that that's their first time incarnating. It does mean, though, that they are more likely to be extremely sensitive to everything that goes on. They will feel extremely out of place, and more than likely a part of the lesson that they are here to learn is that is around being human, but it's also around how to really be in your own pleasure. And oftentimes when you have a being that is reincarnating on Earth for the first time, and that's from another starseed family, some of them can view it as punishment, especially if it wasn't their sole decision. And oftentimes when they get here, if it was their sole decision, if they are not grounded in a very loving space and in a very loving family, it will trigger them very quickly, and they will find themselves doing things like energetically eating the trauma of everyone around them because they think they still have the same abilities that they did when they were a spiritual being, which they don't. And earthly bodies are different. And so it takes a lot more hands-on, spirit babies in general, but with a being that has reincarnated for the first time, there's a reason that they're being born to this person, like you or another person specifically, and they're going to be incredibly sensitive. They're going to desire and need more motherly love, fatherly love, divine family love than most. And there's a very special reason why they're coming and why they're meant to be here. So one of the main ways that you can tell that you have a spirit baby is when you have an intense desire to have a baby. Now, some people may think that, oh, I want to be pregnant means I have a spirit baby. No, this goes beyond rational human understanding. It's something that is incredibly difficult, just even within the family dynamic, for partners to understand when mothers are going through this. You may have just had a baby. You may not have had a baby at all, but every part and every fiber of your being is saying, I am meant to be a mother. I am meant to have this child. I am meant to be. And so it's extremely high baby fever. And then you start finding yourself like looking or feeling there's like a baby around you. They present their energy in very different ways. Some babies, my spirit baby is very much a tease. He likes to tease. And so he will laugh and he'll fly around and then he'll like be gone for weeks. The very first time I was awakened to it, I actually heard a voice saying mommy to me. And so they connect with you in different ways, from speaking to you to appearing in your dreams, appearing like frequently, like you may see children around you, but you keep seeing the same face that's not actually the face of someone around you. They may connect with you through relatives and saying like, oh, a baby came and spoke to me and said that you're their mother, type of thing. It will be a very clear message, but there'll also be some mystery, and you will inevitably understand it more than most people. Another way that you can tell that you have or how you can know that you have a spirit baby is through diving through your past lives. So if you've done a lot of shadow work, if you have even done a lot of light work, I would say, oftentimes wounds around motherhood and wounds around spirit babies will appear in your past lives. Spirit babies can store energy in the body of their mother, especially if you have contracted in multiple lives. And throughout multiple lives, this energy will keep appearing. And so even when you're like in your mother's womb, your spirit baby will already technically be present. But as you're going through life, you'll always know that you're meant for something more. And so they will inevitably lead you to someone that can support you in calling them in, even if it's at a very high level and the journey takes you to the deeper level of connecting with them, they let you know. So it's very much as it is energetic, it is physical as well. And when you know, you know. Now, there's a piece of second guessing that comes through because we're all very human at the end of the day. But when you believe that you have a spirit baby, it's because it's true. It's not like you believe and that makes it true. It's true, and that's already part of the belief. When I first was connected to my spirit baby, he came in as a baby. But as we began this journey together, he presented himself as a toddler, but he was a grown little toddler that was talking full sentences. I've seen him as a full adult man. I've seen him as an elderly man. It depends on the lesson that you're in, as well as the energy that you can hold. So the younger the baby comes in, the more frequency there is surrounding them. So what they will do is they will shift amongst ages, which also shifts the frequency, or it'll help them shift their frequency in order to support you and not being triggered, and in order to support you in holding their presence. But they can and often do appear in all ages, especially, as I say, the more playful that they are, the more that they desire to bring a smile to their mother's faces, and to their fathers too as well. And I could talk all day about auras. As you know, there are multiple colors. The colors represent different things within the auras. When it comes to spirit babies, their auras are not only representative of the energy that they carry, but it's representative of their gifts. It is representative of the mission that they have and what they're here to do. It's also representative of the link that they have to their mother. So the more condensed the aura is, the higher or the thicker the connection is to the mother. The lighter it is, it doesn't mean that there's a less of a connection, but it does mean that there is more need to have them ground in your space. Have them grounding your space and supporting you and getting your body ready for that high frequency pregnancy. So yes, you can see the aura. Their aura has multiple meanings, and their aura also indicates the level of, and I'm getting into like the underworld part a little bit here, but the level of beings that want to eat or outright siphon energy from a spirit baby are numerous. Not many will approach them though, because they have such high frequency energy and they radiate literally love that it will disintegrate them. So what that also means though is that their aura is an indicator though of how these beings can approach them. I will save more of that for later, but just know that it is an indicator of multiple things, and you can ask your spirit baby around like how to deepen that connection and make it like denser to help ground them into this like earth energy. But when it comes to working with spirit babies, the number one thing to remember is they do what they want. Now, I don't say that to mean that they completely disregard what their guides will say or what their mother will say, but they are very stubborn, bullheaded. They have very, very intentional desires within their journey, and they are very strong spirits. So they are coming in more than likely from another like realm, more than likely from another planet, even if they have reincarnated on Earth before, and they don't want to be treated like babies, even though they are a baby. Now that's part of their journey, the learning of being a baby, but they do what they want in the sense of they desire to lead the way. And what that looks like is co-creation. So when working with your spirit baby, it's about co-creating a relationship with them, not telling them what to do, not being told what to do, because they will do that, but like really remembering that this is a partnership, and their guides are very much a part of that. Your guides are very much a part of that relationship, and you can co-create a relationship. The more honest that you are with your spirit baby, which starts with being honest with yourself, the more you are able to foster a healthier relationship with them. So I have seen in multiple cases where a spirit baby will shut down because their mother is not being honest about what she wants. The way that I've seen it happen and the way that my guides described it to me so that it was like easy to break down. It's like, okay, mom, if you're not going to be honest, I'm going to go to bed. And so they turn around and they just leave or they turn out the lights, quote unquote, turn out the lights so that it's like you have to sit with yourself at this moment. So what I mean by being honest, one of the things that you really want to be mindful of is saying things that you don't mean, even when it hurts to say them. Saying, in your frustration around divine timing, fine, I don't want a baby anymore. You don't mean it, but you're saying it out of pure frustration. Your frustration is valid. The way you feel is speaking truths to your spirit babies at all levels. Sometimes we don't even realize when we're not even telling the complete truth to ourselves, especially when there are triggers around it, especially when there is past life trauma around it. And especially when it is something we so deeply desire and we're not seeing the fruition of that in our current day. So working with spirit babies can be incredibly fun. They love guiding their mothers to the techniques or the people or the places that serve their highest good. Your spirit babies do not want to trigger you, but they recognize that you will be triggered and they're there to support you. One of the things that I will say is that spirit babies aren't here to guard you against beings that are attacking you or against psychic attacks or against malevolent beings. The one thing you don't want to do is have your spirit baby be introduced to that energy. They're already going to be familiar with it, but you don't want to bring in your spirit baby when you are going through those in order to have them help you with that. That is where your guides come in and having a deep relationship with your guides. Whereas your spirit baby will come in as a guide along your journey. And of course, to talk to you in between time to support you. They just don't help with the clearings in the same way. So that's just a summary. There are multiple ways to work with spirit babies. It depends on the baby. It depends on the timing in which they arrive. Some start working with you years in advance. That's how it happened for me. Some start working with you days in advance, especially if they know that that is what serves your highest good. You can be awakened really quickly, but most of the time they do try to give a bit of a heads up. So there is a common misconception that light and love are the ways that spirit babies go, and that's the way that they come through. That is not the case for most spirit babies, they do come in with a lot of love. They do come in with a lot of light. They also come in with a lot of dark. And I don't mean wounded darkness, I mean divine darkness. So when I'm talking about the underworld, I'm going to refer to the chthonic deities as divine, or the goetic infernals as divine, whereas there are also beings that sit within the underworld that are not divine and that are incredibly wounded, and I will refer to those as their title or type. So within the underworld, there are many different beings that are here to support, one, the collective, but women in stepping into our dark divinity. Part of that dark divinity is meant to be a part of our rebirth in order to call in all the things that we desire. So motherhood is one of many things that most women desire. It's not the only thing though. And a part of birthing a spirit baby is really remembering that your well-being, your desires, your sovereignty comes first. If you do not take care of you, you can't take care of others. Not in the highest aligned way, not in the way that serves you best. And I will add this here, that there are spirit babies that will choose your well-being over their life because they recognize that them coming through would actually put you in danger. And that can appear in many ways, like if you have an animal, them choosing to give away their life. So that doesn't mean that they will not reincarnate in this lifetime, but they may not incarnate in that body, which is one of the harder things for us, like on the human perspective, to see and know and understand, of like the baby choosing to save the mother, even though the mother wants the child to be here, and the father and the other family members want the child to be here as well. So where the underworld comes in is that a lot of these dark divine beings are here to support you in really grounding in your sovereignty as an individual. Light work often involves the collective, whereas the dark divine often involves the individual. Not that it doesn't involve the collective, but it is the individual outward, whereas light work is the collective inward, if that makes sense. So there are a lot of myths when it comes to the underworld. I have multiple underworld guides. Hades is one of, well, he's my master spirit guide. I also work with goetic infernals. If you don't know what goetic infernals are, they're also called demons. A year ago, you could not have told me I would have been working with them. I do now. And I have multiple ones on my spirit team. I also have witches on my spirit team. I also have angels on my spirit team. I have fairies on my spirit team, and all of them work together collaboratively in the same room on multiple occasions in order to support me. So the way we see light and dark, like the underworld versus the upper realm, is not the way it actually appears or it actually comes through in the spirit world. A lot of things are more so neutral, in the sense of the universe doesn't decide something is good or evil. Humans do. And so what you will have, though, are malevolent beings that do not hold your highest good in mind. And you have beings that are divine, who do hold your highest being in mind. And then you have beings, so while they may not have malevolent intentions, they don't hold your highest good in mind. An example are pseudo guides. Pseudo guides are beings that are on your spirit team, and they may lead you in circles around the very thing that you want, because it doesn't serve your highest good, but it's exactly what they're aiming for the overall collective. An example of a malevolent being is an entity or a vampire. Those are beings that intentionally will mislead you on your journey. There are also malevolent beings that are deities. Poseidon is a malevolent being. There's a whole long story about that I will not go through, but a lot of women have come across Poseidon and not been aware of it, and inevitably it led to very difficult birth. It led to a difficult birth. So Poseidon is another one. Kronos is another malevolent being. You have divine beings from the underworld, like Hades. You have Belial, Beelzebub. Lucifer is actually a divine being. Selene, the moon goddess, who's a more dark fractal, is a divine being. You have Hecate, Hera. So you have all of these different types of beings, and then those are just like different deities and goetic infernals and witches, but they're also like dragons and fairies and different beings like that. So I'm getting into like the principles of working with divine beings, but whenever it comes to working with a divine being, the number one thing to remember is respect. There is a lot of misinformation out there around working with divine beings. It's more so like they are serving you or trapping. But the more you treat the relationship like that, the more it will inevitably not serve you. And you will have beings turning on you, because who wants to be like trapped? And I won't get into this magic of Solomon, but suffice it to say, when it comes to working with divine beings, respect is a big part of that. Co-creation, so not being overly dependent. This is a lesson that I will be very transparent about. I'm still learning, because guides have been very much a part of my life. And so balancing when you're turning to spirit versus your intuition, and just being in the physical moment of just responding to what's in front of you. Another thing to remember when working with divine beings is that they're there to support you, and they can be blocked by malevolent beings, especially if you are triggered by something. So it's like having spiritual hygiene is really important when working with divine beings. Also, let them take a lot of the weight off your shoulders. So the more support that you ask for, the more that you receive. But the number one thing to remember when working with any type of being, though I encourage working with divine beings, is to be very specific in your ask, especially when it comes to working with underworld beings. Archangels are a bit different, but there are archangels with dark fractals, which means that they're going to come harder, which means that if you're not very specific in what it is that you want to learn and what it is that you want to do and what it is that you desire, they will take you on the lesson that is quickest, which may be also the most chaotic and the most traumatizing, but you'll get what you want. So specificity is really important when working with divine beings. There are, of course, more myths that I could talk about, but there's a myth around, I actually won't get into that one. They're saying not to get into that one tonight. But what I will say is that when it comes to working with divine beings and the underworld or the upper realm, curiosity goes a long way. Curiosity, but also divine energetic boundaries, and ensuring that you're working with beings that feel good and always align with your highest good and are aligned with the values that you have, and recognize that those will evolve and change over time, and that's okay. And the last one I will talk about is manifesting changes in timing. When you are seeking to manifest a baby in specific timing, it can be very difficult to accept that divine timing is a part of that. And that may look anything like accepting, like, if it doesn't happen by a certain time, then that means it's not meant to happen. That's not true. That's just like our perception of timing versus the perception that is actually divine timing. Spirit babies have a time window, but also a timing that they hold true to. They do not at all like to miss their timing. It can literally set them back thousands of years, not just in lessons, but it can lead to them choosing not to reincarnate in a specific life. Now, divine timing doesn't mean it's going to come in the time that you desire, but what it does mean is that you can co-create and be a part of that. one of the things that, as I said, it's not about your spirit baby telling you, and it's not about you telling your spirit baby. It's about you all co-creating this. And this very much happens with your partner. Spirit babies kind of like fanfare. So they like to gather the people around them that they feel like will help create the safest birth possible in order to support not just them, but to support mother. That could look anything like if you are estranged from your family and your spirit baby recognizes that it's for the highest good for your family to be there, they will start working behind the scenes with your guides, with the guides of your family members, and without you even maybe having to take very direct action in telling your family, like, this is what I'm looking to do, this is what I would like from you all, without you even having to do that, you will start to see changes in your family members. You'll start to see changes in the environment around you. They desire to have a safe container to come in. That it means that mother is safe. That means that father is holding mom, or your partner is holding mom in a way that just helps her ground in her sovereignty. So it might mean that it's not manifesting at the time that you desire. What it does mean, though, is that you get to be a part of that. I call it the spirit baby birth plan. Spirit babies have their own plan, and it's important to mix that with your plan. And what's also important is to take leadership within that. So there are babies that will come in and they will say that I want a lot of trauma because I feel like this will help me at the end of my life. They're viewing this from a very spiritual point and thinking that it's going to go by as quickly as things do in the spirit world. But that's not how it works. And that's where mom steps in and says, no, I can give you this. I can support you with this, but I'm not going to support you in being traumatized. So this is where I say it's very much a co-creation, and like the manifesting the changes and the timing is a part of that. Because if you're not grounded in your sovereignty, if you are being traumatized by something and inevitably passing that along, that's not something that you'll step in to stop. Another part around manifesting changes in timing is recognizing that there are some things that you don't want to move forward with in your lineage. For instance, there was a curse in my lineage that had to be cleared that was literally passing generation through generation. And their desire was to actually get to my spirit baby. So I had to remove that curse. And so there are things that are going to have to be removed by mother, by partner, by grandmother, by family member, in making sure that this spirit baby comes in safely, because this is a master that you're birthing. You may be birthing more than one master. Nonetheless, they are all masters of their own crafts, and they will show you what those things look like. But timing is really important to them. They will support you in aligning around timing. That might look like them coming in very differently than you imagine. But the more specific you are around what you desire in them coming in, the better. There are women that have very 3D physical partners. And while the mother may see the spirit baby and may connect with the spirit baby, the partner may not. For me, that the case around my family not really being as spiritually connected was very much true. And the way that they connect with people that may not be as aware of them spiritually, or have that high level of awareness or high level of sensitivity, or may not even be interested because there's a block there due to trauma or due to a past life, is through their guides. So I always say this because it's so true. You don't ever have to take on the energy of convincing your partner, your family, your community, or anyone that you have a spirit baby or that your spirit baby is there. As long as you are owning your truth and you're standing in your sovereignty around it, people will naturally come in. But also, though, your guides and your spirit baby are going to work behind the scenes. The people that you are with signed up for this lifetime. They signed up for this pathway, which means that they, as a soul, willingly said, I don't want to know about it until then, but you can work with me this way. They signed up for this. And so I have seen instances where spirit babies have sent visuals. Visuals are a way that they really connect with people who aren't as spiritually aware. They'll send them visuals. They will send them pets. Pets are a way that people connect to the spiritual without even realizing they're connecting, because it gets them outside of their space and into someone else's space. And pets are very sensitive to spiritual matters anyways. I've seen them connect people to plants. Plants are a huge way that the spirit comes in. And so they'll start with bringing in just a desire to have a plant. And then you find yourself talking to the plant. And then you find yourself receiving guidance from a plant. And just like that, there was like an opening there for the spirit baby to come in more. So they'll work with your guides. They'll work with the guides of other beings that even may not be activated. They don't ever step into someone's aura or space without permission, but the spirit world is off limits to like the rules of human. No, how do they maybe say this? The spirit world has a different approach, which means that my spirit baby may know you're a spirit baby, but we may have never met before, and they're chatting it up. Because they're meant to be friends or something like that. We've never met before. We may not meet until they're like 13 years old. But the point is, like, they work in a different timeline. So they'll work with guides of other people. They will bring and help open them up in as gentle way as possible. That is a part of their pathway. And it doesn't mean that they won't be pushed to the edge, because this is a journey around growth. Anytime you're calling in a spirit baby, growth is not only necessary, it's something that your soul signed up for. And so people will be pushed to the edge in their own way. That may look like you holding boundaries when it comes to talking around spirit babies. That may look like going out and having conversations with people around spirit babies. It could be anything, but your role in it is not to take on the convincing role. It's to tell your spirit baby, this is the level of support that I desire, either from my partner or my family. And they will be honest with you if it's something that they can support you in, because this is something that this person desires. They just may not be honest about it. They will also be honest with you if they would say, like, I wouldn't recommend this relationship. So recognize that in stating what you desire and opening yourself up to receive guidance, you will receive both ends of it, but you can also, at the end of the day, it's free will. So you choose what you desire to do or receive.